I'm going to speak the whole truth and nothing but the truth today, y'all. You don't need a new tagline, okay? You just need permission to sound just like you. And that's exactly what this episode is about. With our special guest today, Dr. Rhonda Alexander is on the show to talk all about how to build a personal brand that is rooted in truth, not trend. Before we get into this episode, a word from our sponsor. Riverside is the all in one podcast recording and editing tool that I use for this right here show. I use it to edit not only the audio in the video, it is like chef's kiss magical, making the entire process so easy. Plus, I love their magic AI clips. Their little AI robot in the background pulls out the most impactful moments of the episodes without me having to comb through and do it myself, resizes them for social media. So those vertical videos you see on TikTok and Reels, those all come from Magic AI inside of Riverside. It's literally one click. It spits out 10 clips. I pick the best one and away I go. Saves me so much time. If you want to get on the Riverside train, check it out today. The link's in the show notes and make sure to use my code DREA, DREA at checkout to get 15% off your membership. Rhonda, welcome to the show.
Hey, Andrea. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here. I'm super excited to be chatting with you.
And I'm excited to just do my thing and be nosy and learn everything about you and your world.
Love
So,
it. We love
yes, I
it.
love it. I love it. So, how did you get into personal branding? Start us at the beginning.
So I have kind of been on my own journey. It's really difficult to know who you are when you have all of these titles, right? You've got employee, leader, mom, sister, friend. You've got all these titles, right? And then one day, some of those titles are gone. So my daughter moved away to go to college. And my doctorate was over, and all of a sudden, I wasn't all the things. And I had to discover who I authentically am outside of being mommy and outside of being student and scholar and all of these other hats that I wear. And so while I'm not a branding specialist, while that's not, what I brand myself as, one of the things that's very important in the work that I do in coaching and advising business owners and entrepreneurs is bringing who you really are to your business. And the challenge with that is a lot of entrepreneurs, especially women, don't know who that is. I recently had a breakdown with a client of mine. We were on the phone, and I said, "Well, who is that person?" And the tears just started to run, right? So I know that the journey to really being authentic in your brand and really understanding your brand is really starts with understanding who you actually are outside of all of the hats you wear, but who are you really? And so after my own journey of discovery, I bring that to the work that I do with women entrepreneurs everywhere.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I feel this so deeply right now because I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. And I'm like, who is mom Andrea? And it feels so jarring to be on this side of it. I'm
Yeah.
done having kids, thank God. This is more than enough for me. But I'm still trying to figure out how to merge my idea of myself before kids and who I'm becoming after kids. So this totally resonates with me, especially having a business. So for a long time, my identity was tied up in my business, and now it's not the most important thing in my life. So interesting, interesting. Okay. So for those people who are listening, they're like, okay, Dr. Rhonda Alexander, how do I find my real voice? How do I know what that even looks like?
It really becomes you have to be, of course, self-aware and have the ability to be introspective and honest about what you like, what your goals are. And in the absence of the demands, in the absence of the roles, really sitting with what kind of person am I? What are my values? What's important to me? Who do I want to be? Because who you wanted to be 10 years ago and what you wanted to be at that time is not the same person that you are now. It's not what you want now, who you are now, and even in 10 years, right? So when we start talking about, discovering who we are, yes, I'm looking at who am I really right now? If I didn't have a role at all, what would I want to be known for? Who
Mhm.
would I want to be considered as, right? What are my values? What's important to me? And then where am I going? Right? Because I know that I'm constantly evolving. So it's being honest about what I want to do and what I don't want to do. So as you're yourself, as you're even finding in this journey, now that you're a mom of 2 young children, what you want for yourself in terms of what you wanna do and what you don't wanna do are very, very different now than they were before you had kids. So our values change, our priorities change. Who we are at our core doesn't necessarily change. We do evolve, but certain things about our character, the things that really make us who we are, don't change. But I think when it comes to discovering and determining, identifying who you are right now in this moment has a lot to do with what you will do right now, what you won't do right now, what's important to you right now, and what's not. What do you want to say yes to in this season of your life? What do you want to say yes to? And in this season of your life, what do you want to say no to? Because we don't think
Mhm.
about that. We think of ourselves as yes machines. And you get to an age, the closer to 50, I think you get to this point where you're like, I don't want to do more. I want to do less. I want what I do to matter. I don't need to be at every meeting doing all the things, conquering all the giants. I want to focus on this thing that matters to me. That just comes, I think, with, again, just the evolution of life and really becoming aware of what's important to you at various seasons.
Yeah, I love that you said that the what you wanna be is as important as what you don't wanna be. I think that's such an important distinction. One of the things I often hear, though, especially from business owners who are developing personal brands, is that where they wanna be is different from where they are now, and so sometimes it feels like when they're creating, let's say, marketing content, they're recording podcasts, they're on Instagram, sometimes it feels like they're performing instead of being. What do you think about that?
A lot of us are performing instead of being,
Mm,
and I talk about this in my book. We hide behind the performance because the performance is comfortable. When you are in an essence or a season of being, you are who you are, whether people like you or not, whether you feel accepted by people or not. I am who I am. Take it or leave it. Most of us don't live in that space. We're trying to get there, but most of us are still in this space of performance, performing strength, performing so we can be accepted, performing so that we can be validated, right? So that we feel that people see us. And the only way they can see us is if we pretend we're who they expect us to be. If when they open this box, they get what they bargained for or better in our eyes, right? Not that they open the box and they got, oh gosh, woo, she's a firecracker. We don't always want to get that reaction. We want people to go, yes, I met her. She's exactly what I thought she would be. There are no curveballs with her. She is, always on her game. She is 100% all the time. Meanwhile, the person that really wants to exist, who really wants to be, is being completely ignored and even rejected because we're concerned that that person doesn't have what it takes to get into the rooms that we want to be in or to be as important as the rest of the people in those rooms. So we hide that person and we put on this mask. We put on this performance. And so we're now kind of getting to this place, most, Gen Xers, boomers, some millennials as well, getting to a place where we're like, I'm done with the performance because I discovered that it doesn't matter if I perform or if I'm real. You're going to like me or not. You may not like me at all either way. So if you're not gonna like me at all either way, I might as well be me. And so a lot of us are tired of the performance. It's exhausting to be pretending in a way that makes other people comfortable and meets their expectations of you. Many of us are like, you know what? Listen, I'm just me, like it or not. And if you don't like it, then you're just not for me. But it takes self validation, self awareness, self acceptance to get to that place. And a lot of us are learning those skills.
Well, yeah, and it's definitely a skill, something that I feel like I'm just now
Yeah.
discovering. There's so much that I've internalized as a woman, as a Black
Yeah.
woman, as a business owner, as now a mom. Mom guilt is real,
It
And
is. It
so
is.
I love this conversation, and I think that part of the challenge with a lot of people, myself included, is I know who I am more today than I ever have, and yet I feel it's hard to jump that gap between who I am now and who I used to be. So for example, I used to say things like, "I don't curse in my marketing, it's not part of my brand," but y'all, I curse all the time in my real life, and so now that I don't care, like, I literally just don't care anymore, the curses are be coming out, and so I feel guilty about that. So
Mm.
how do we make that transition from, that someone who I used to be, here's who I am now, and I'm just accurately reflecting who I am, and part of that I feel like is going to alienate people, something like, people clearly don't like cursing, like some people don't. So how do I bridge that gap?
So you bridge that gap by deciding what you wanna be, whether or not do you have to curse? No. Is that a part of who if I was hanging out with you and we were just having a glass of wine, would you be completely poised and polished, or would you be still your expertise, your expert self, still your very intelligent self, still very wise, have all of your business acumen, but you talk differently? Would that make me think, "Oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about because she dropped some four-letter words?" Not me.
Mhm.
And I I I won't say I don't, but in my marketing and in real life, I really don't swear very much anymore. That's just an evolution. It's not because I made some pact and decided I wasn't going to. It just stopped
Right.
fitting. And even when you deal with me in real life, I cut the food like everybody else, but that's just not something I do very much. But does it bother me when people do? No. If I don't like you, it's not because you dropped the F-bomb.
Well, that's the real thing, isn't it? That's the real thing, is not
If
'cause
I
the
don't wanna
F-bomb.
work with you, it's not because now if you're just obnoxiously vulgar, that's one thing. But if this is just, you're just using it to color how you
Mhm.
speak, that doesn't bother me personally. And so I think about this in terms of a good friend of mine who really felt like she had put herself into this perfect little box as an entrepreneur. I always show up polished. I always show up, in my perfection, in my most professional self. But the nitty gritty of me is I get down and dirty with you. I'm in the trenches with you. And she's like, I don't feel like my folks get the sense of who I really am until I finally get in a meeting with them and I take off all of that and they
Mhm.
go, wow, you're really, you are totally, your personality is amazing. But it's like I get to see your flame, your fire. I get to see what drives you, what makes you passionate, not just your expertise. And so she really spent like the last year funeralizing this persona that she had boxed herself into and really got comfortable showing up and saying, I don't care what you think of me. This is who I am. And I want to be true to me because when I'm true to me, I attract people who like me and I get to work with people I like, who
Mhm.
understand my vibe, my flow. They're not going to be offended by my directness. They're not gonna be, offended by my colorfulness. They're not gonna be offended by my extraness. They're gonna expect that from me because when they saw me on social, when they saw me in public, I am who I am. And it's been really beautiful to watch because she's one of those burn it all down coaches. She is amazing at what she does. And I have seen this evolution go from someone who was still amazing at what she was doing, but not as bold as she is now. And so she likes to mix swears in the most creative ways. It's great. I love it. I can't do that, but I love it. But the thing about it is the people that she's now attracting, because now her brand is so authentically her. She's attracting people who are like, "Yep, that's my girl. I need that in my life, in my business. I need that kind of support." And so when it comes to bridging that gap, sometimes there's no bridge. Sometimes
Mm.
there's a door close and you say, "You know what? That's just not me. That season is over. That's just not me anymore." And I'm okay with that. Thank you, um, past Andrea. Thank you so much for getting me where I am. I appreciate you. I love you. You're amazing. But here I am in season 2. And season 2 is taking all of the masks off, and she's gonna show up how she likes to show up. And the people who are for her, they like her. They like that. They want that from her. And do that without apology and without guilt. That part, without guilt.
Yeah, I need more on that because this season 2 is great and I love it. And, sometimes those little doubt gremlins get to me.
Absolutely.
Especially, I know a lot of my business owner friends were in a season of drought in our business. It's tough times in North America, US and Canada specifically right now. And so I'll use myself as an example again, coming through this next iteration of my business, this next iteration of me, and then going, wait, is it because I started cursing that my business is, a little bit slower than I want it to be? And so I think that there's something there to be confident about that decision. But I'd love to hear your expertise and your thoughts on, it's season 2, we're showing up as we are. How do we continue on with strength and not with doubt?
So, you're not alone. Let me just say that to you, okay? I have been in this entrepreneur game for most of my career. I'm 30 years into the game, professionally, and 20 of those I've been an entrepreneur. This last stint has lasted me now 10 years. So I understand the cycles of the economy. I have lived through um, the last major recession where I had to shut my business down and go get a job. Like, I have been through the worst of the worst for me as an entrepreneur. And I went through the whole COVID thing. I was a full-time entrepreneur at that time with staff, understanding how all of these things work. What do you do when you start having these doubts and that little voice is like, "You're not gonna make it." This is you're failing right now. The first thing you gotta do really is look around. We're all in this rocking boat together, and none of us are, I won't say none, few of us really are like, "I got it. We're good. No worries." I think everybody is gathering their teams, gathering their strategists, thinking, praying, meditating, whatever your thing is, to get that confirmation, to remain grounded, to say, "Okay, I don't wanna lose it here, but stuff don't look so good right now. Hey, Jesus, what are what we finna do?" Um, you're not alone. We're all every business is in this kind of constant evaluation because we're all preparing to pivot if it becomes necessary or to hunker down if it becomes necessary. My advice to my clients and people I've been asked this question because a lot of people are asking this right now. What do we do? I say double down. My mom has this saying, she says, "Before I take it back, I'll add more to it."
Mm.
Before I call it quits, I will be consistent. I will invest in myself. I will invest in my business. I will keep my eyes open and constantly be looking for opportunities because there may have to be a shift. There may have to be a reorganization, a reimagination of doing things. The only time you really get yourself into a big bunch of trouble is when you're like, "I'm married to this idea. We're gonna do this idea, hell or high water." You might still do the idea, but how you execute it may shift, or maybe the idea itself may shift. When I say double down, I mean bet on you. Bet on the fact that this is your life's assignment. Bet on the fact that this is what you're called and assigned and what you must do. If it wasn't, you'd have a 9 to 5, and then you have a whole other set of issues to be concerned about with pink slips and layoffs and furloughs. But as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, your doubling down isn't necessarily becoming rigid and becoming married to the ideas and the successes that you currently have and have previously had. It's betting on you. It's being confident that I am where I'm supposed to be for this dispensation of time. And when that changes, I'll know. But right now, I don't feel in my heart that things should change. Now, might there come a period in anybody's entrepreneurial journey where you feel like I need somebody to finance this dream and I need to go and get a job? Maybe. That's a part of the journey sometimes. But in those moments where you feel like you have doubt, you may not have the most confidence in your idea or your business or how you will succeed in that moment, but you've gotta be confident that this is what you're called to do, and this is your assignment. And if you can be really, really secure in that, it doesn't matter what comes. You will always know, "This is my journey. This is my walk, and whether I do this plan or that plan, I'm gonna succeed, period, because I'm assigned to. I'm supposed to." So, just being aware of how that may happen could change. But who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing, I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing, no question. So now, okay, the how. Now that we have the why figured out or the what, okay, now we can talk about how, and that can change.
Mm. A lot of what you talked about requires like inner confidence and inner strength. And you've spoken a bit about being self aware. So, for those people who are listening and they're like, I'm ready to start this journey, what's one thing that they can do, maybe an exercise, an activity that will help them start removing that mask and showing up as themselves?
One of the things I encourage people to do is to let your body help you make decisions. And by that, I mean, if somebody says, "Hey, Rhonda, can you meet us Thursday at 6 for a 3-hour meeting?" And my knee jerk reaction is, I don't want to do that. Like you get a thing in your chest that's like, mm-mm, mm-mm, no. Or you say yes and it feel like there's dread. Your body is saying, we don't want to do this. And when you call or text that person or that group back and say, "You know what? I don't think this is a good idea for me today. Can we either find another day or I don't think this is good for me at all. I'm gonna decline. I'm gonna pass." When your body feels that freedom, you go, "Oh, that's what this is like. That's what freedom is really like. Okay, now self-awareness in this context is sitting with how I feel and being honest about what my body is saying to me. My body just went into fight, flight, or freeze. My body is absolutely not interested in doing this, which means when I get in this meeting, I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be anxious. I'm going to be disconnected. I'm going to be disinterested. I'm going to be resentful. And every time somebody asks me to do something, I'm not going to want to do it. I'm gonna do it begrudgingly. I'm not gonna give it my best. I'm not gonna give it my all. So self-awareness and a really easy, sort of moderately easy, is paying attention to what your body is telling you. when people are asking you to do things in the even if it's outside of being asked to do things. When you're thinking about an idea, a new business venture, a new business idea, before you close the notebook, sit with it. How am I feeling about it? I've created entire strategies, new LinkedIn strategies, new email marketing strategies. And when I closed the book or when I picked it up the next day, I went, I don't want to do any of this.
Mhm.
None of this makes me feel excited, good. I don't want to. And so I didn't. I said, well, when I make, I'll keep it and then throw it away. But maybe at some point, the vibration between me and that project will be back in sync. But just because I had the idea doesn't necessarily mean I'm married to it or that I have to do it. When my body said, we don't like this, self awareness allowed me to sit in that feeling, acknowledge the feeling, and make a decision. Do I want to move forward or not? Now, can you be led by your feelings? No, right? Because there are times that you'll have to do things you don't necessarily want to do or feel like doing. But there are times when that self-awareness, that ability to feel will keep you off of a path to doing something that's only gonna make you miserable.
Mm.
So you really have to be wise and self-aware, using that wisdom, discernment, what's right for me right now? What should I be doing? What does my business need? What do I need? Right? In a season of rest, when your body is screaming for rest, and you've got a six-page strategy that you're determined to execute, you're out of sync and it's not gonna succeed because your body, much like mine did, your body will be like, not interested, and it will shut the lights off and go home.
Mm.
And you have no choice but to sit still and get the rest. And then once you come back, now you've got all of these things that you can try and play around with. But self-awareness really starts with honesty, self-honesty. How do I feel? How do I feel about this thing? What do I want? And being honest, I don't want to do that. Now, is it something I have to do? Okay, then I'll suck it up and I'll do it. Is it something I don't have to do and I don't want to do it? Oh, well, no, I'm not doing that. Because a lot of times we have a choice. Do we want to or not? And our body is telling us whether we wanna do it or not. And so if I'm not feeling it and I don't have to, I'm at the stage now, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it.
I love this. So many nuggets. I hope y'all have been writing this down or re-listen to this episode because so many things in here I was like, yes, nodding my head, yes, and then
Right.
I have to now go and do it. So for those people who are listening and they want more of your insights, more of your work, you have a book coming out in January. Tell us about it.
So my book, Seven Dirty Secrets of a Strong Black Woman, is actually out now in print. It's sevendirtysecrets.net to
Congratulations.
order. So thank you so much. This is my fourth book, and this book is the journey of my taking off that mask. Living this life where I was the perfectionist. I had all of these things. Everybody thought I had this great life, but behind the scenes, I was insecure. I was heartbroken. I had these secrets that I was carrying around and overperforming, overachieving. And one day my body said, we're done. We're finished. And I had a huge breakdown. Back in the day, they would have called it a nervous breakdown, but I had a huge panic attack and it took me 6 weeks to recover from. And in that time, the concepts and the bravery for this book was born. And I have been able to be really honest about the things that I secretly carried that many Black women that I'm noticing are carrying. And it has begun to resonate, especially since we have changed administrations after the whole Kamala thing. And this book has become very meaningful to quite a lot of us because while they may not have had the same breakdown as me, a lot of Black women have been performing for acceptance and performing, overachieving to fit in and to meet expectations and self-sacrificing and all of these things that we're very accustomed to doing. So I talk about those secrets in a very vulnerable way. And then I talk about what it means to redefine strength because coming out of that, I had to do something different so I wouldn't end up back in that place again. So I talk also about the 7 truths I learned, in an effort to help those of us who might be on the path to having this similar kind of breakdown, to avoid the breakdown, but still have the same self-discovery, and to understand how to prioritize self, how to take care of yourself, and how to stand up for yourself, and how to be authentically you, unapologetically. And so the audiobook for that comes out in January.
Okay.
And I'm very, very excited. It will be on Amazon, it will be on Audible and iTunes in January. And I'm super, super excited. So 7dirtysecrets.net, the number 7dirtysecrets.net is how you can get you can order the hard copy book. And then if you'd like, you can get on the wait list to be first notified when the audiobook drops in January.
Beautiful. Make sure y'all grab this book. I'll put that link in the show notes as well, onlinedrea.com/382. Rhonda, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I've had a ball talking with you today.
Yeah, it's been fun. And thank you, dear listener, for tuning into another episode of the Mindful Marketing Podcast. Make sure you check out our website for everything coming up soon. Our next What's the Scoop session will be December 2nd. Links are on the website. If you want to know everything about what's happening in social media this month, that is the session for you. I will see you then. Bye for now.